Hello. Oh, I don't have my glasses on. Jax West. Stephen Avery Project. Justice with Jax. MAM Gossip. And I'm also the admin for a Facebook group that is called Free Brendan Dassey. And we just got the news that the governor of Wisconsin has denied a clemency, pardon, however you want to call it. It all comes back to the same thing for Brendan Dassey. Well, this is not unexpected because Wisconsin is so corrupt. It's also, so I cannot bring up, oh, I'm really tired, Karen. I've had some really crazy past couple of days. So yeah, and I actually have to leave here in a half hour. Keep freezing. Am I freezing for everybody? Let me know if I'm freezing for everyone and I need to, but it's also my internet, like I said, is so shitty. All right. I should find my glasses. Hopefully people can still hear me and see me. Tina says freezing. Janine says freezing. So should I stop this and start another one and see if that's better before I continue on here? Thoughts on from the 8 of you who are currently on? If I need to start a new one, or has it leveled out? Okay, thank you, Karen. All right, on Free Brendan. Ugh. I mean, we've got so much that's going on in my real life that looking into why our internet is so bad should be a priority, and we just can't get to it yet. But all right, so I have posted it on Free Brendan, the Facebook page, and I also shared it in MAM Gossip, Justice with Jax, Stephen Avery Project. But this is the letter that the Wisconsin governor, oh, do I need glasses? Well, it's signed by the Pardon Advisory Board, Office of Governor Tony Evers. So this is the letter that they sent to Laura Nyrider at the Center on Wrongful Convictions at the Northwestern University Pritzker School of Law. Yay, Pritzker. I know none of you not from Illinois don't even know about that, but Pritzker is our current governor, whom I love so much. And this was dated the 17th. And it says, Dear Mr. Dassey, unfortunately, we are unable to consider your application for pardon because you do not meet one or more of the required eligibility conditions. Specifically, you are currently ineligible because 1, it has not been at least 5 years since you completed your entire sentence for the conviction you want to be pardoned. 2, you are currently required to register as a sex offender under Wisconsin Statute 301.45. If you are still unclear as to why your application does not qualify or you have further questions, please visit, and then it's a link to a pardon page that they have. In addition, the governor is not considering requests for commutation. Thank you for contacting the Pardon Advisory Board. And Facebook, now that I posted that, is just blowing up, that I've just got constant notification after notification of people that are responding on all the various pages. This is total bullshit. But this is what happens when you are coerced into a false confession. That's why Brendan's case is in such a bad spot, is because of his coerced confession. And if you watch the unedited interrogations, there's no denying that Brendan was led to say what he said. They wanted him, after they found bullet casings in the garage, and claiming that what they're saying is a skull fragment, and that the curvature on that skull fragment is a bullet, and that, didn't they say that there was like a trace of lead or something on there? They needed Brendan to now say she was shot, because prior to that, nothing was saying she was shot. What did you do to her head, Brendan? Punched her? Brendan, what did you do to her head? Cut her hair? Brendan, what did you do to her head? Cut her throat? Okay, I'm just going to come out and say this. Who shot her? Stephen! As anybody would do, trying to protect himself. Brendan had never said prior to that anything about her being shot, and they needed him to say it of his own free will. And Brendan, with his intelligence level and being a 16-year-old scared kid, stuck in this tiny room, pulled out of school, stuck in a tiny room, he has no idea what you're trying to lead him to say. So he's shooting out these guesses. Guilters, don't give me the bullshit of there's other times they talk to him, because for other times they talk to him that were not filmed, he's also being coerced and led to say the things he said. And how dare you go after a 16-year-old boy like that? It's infuriating to me, because the only evidence there is on Brendan's guilt is that confession. There's no DNA. There's no fingerprints. There's no eyewitnesses. Nothing. Nothing. Except Brendan's coerced confession. Brendan is a sweet kid. I told you all the story before when I went with somebody who was visiting Brendan in prison, and I wasn't on his visitors list. I just went for the 2.5 hour ride there and back. And Brendan sent out a half-eaten bag of chili Fritos for me, so because he knew I would be hungry. And I was talking to him on the phone back at that time, and so he knew I was going to be going on this visit, and he had asked me, what am I going to do while they're inside on that visit? And I was like, I don't know, I've got my phone, so I'll be on the internet. And that was one of the times when I was trying to get in shape, and I'm like, maybe I'll go for a walk. And then Brendan's like, you need to be careful, because there'll be inmates that will be outside in the yard and they'll whistle at you. And it was just this a sweet little thing that he said, concerned for my welfare. Then there's another time that I have this big pond in my yard that my partner Jeff put in our yard. And we were talking about the pond. And he's like, and I told him how I would swim in the pond with the fish. And he just thought that was the coolest thing. And he says, well, make sure people don't pee in it. And, and he says it in this kind of shy little thing. He's a sweet kid. We talked about, so I would talk to him about his family, how they are avid hunters. And no, it's not for him. He won't hunt. He can't do it. So to believe this kid raped a woman while his uncle is watching, the kid's not going to be able to get an erection in that situation. But to think that this kid would have raped a woman and took part into killing and getting rid of the body, that is unreal to me. Brendan, as he puts on the end of all of his letters, is the complete and innocent. And everyone who is a part of his incarceration, you should be ashamed of yourselves. And how do you sleep that you stole this kid's life? You took him when he was 16. He's 30 now. He has never been a free man. And I will direct this to you, Barb Taddock. I know you love all your boys. I know you want to protect Scott and Bobby. But this isn't right to do to Brendan, Barb. Brendan has paid long enough for Scott and Bobby's crimes. Barb, please. Christmas right around the corner. Go tell what you know. And I will now address this to anyone who is part of the frame up of Brendan and Stephen. I give you the benefit of the doubt. The ones that were told by others that Stephen did this, and due to the depositions that just began in his $36 million wrongful incarceration suit, that you would never be able to prosecute him for this crime. So you wanted to make sure that Stephen was found guilty. So you helped plant the RAV4 at the salvage yard. You know it wasn't there. You know it had to be moved there. You were part of it being moved there. Tell what you know. This has gone on long enough. Stephen and Brendan have lost their lives. Dolores has lost her son for the second time. Teresa's killer is still out there. There has been no justice for Teresa Hallback. I understand those of you who truly thought Stephen was guilty and wanted to make sure there was evidence to prove that. But look at everything that's out there. Truly look at it. You know Stephen and Brendan did not do this. This is so wrong. It is hard to put into words what has been done to Stephen and Brendan. I'm like I said at the beginning, it's expected, because Wisconsin is just so desperately trying to cover this up and to keep it status quo. I just don't understand how people can live with themselves knowing these two people are innocent. Now, take Stephen out of the picture right now, okay? Because I know, especially with the Calumet jail calls that have been released thus far, it is turning people's opinion against Stephen, not in his guilt, but him as a person. I get it. I get that people don't like Stephen. I get that. I get that. All right. I really don't want to really focus on that. But let's look at Brendan. What has Brendan done to anybody? Why is it okay for Brendan to be in prison because people don't like Stephen Avery? This makes me so sad. I've said before, it's like a double-edged sword in this for Brendan, because I also fear for his release into the world, especially if those who are not truly guilty, i.e. Scott and Bobby, are still out there when he is released. I am concerned that Brendan is surrounded by people who don't have his best interest at heart. They're weird fans. So if Brendan were to be released with the way things are, he's in jeopardy. Because no matter how Brendan is released, there's always going to be people that think he is guilty. His safety is always going to be at risk. So he truly needs to be surrounded by people who want to protect Brendan. They're not there for the fame, the weird attractions people have to be connected to somebody who's an inmate. So while I fear for his well-being if he was released into current circumstances. But then there's that boy deserves freedom. He should be able to spend his days and nights playing video games and being goofy. Because yes, he's 30, but he's childlike and he's frozen in that age because he was taken. So he's a 30-year-old kid that wants to play video games and watch Pokemon. This is not or somebody who's going to rape some woman and kill her and mutilate her body. It's just, no. This is a sad day. There's really nothing else for Brendan to free him, except for the real killer being found. But even then, there's people who have said that, well, maybe it's not Stephen, but everything that Brendan says is because he knows Scott and Bobby or Bobby did those things, so that Brendan is still guilty. And this is all coming from his coerced confession. Multiple times those police took him, or not police, Manitowoc County. And I am sure nobody braced Brendan for this. Just like the last time, they probably got his hopes way up. You know, last time the kid gave away all the stuff in his cell, his TV, everything, because his mother and others really led him to believe, this is it, you're going free. And I also get that he needs to have, he needs to be able to think positively, you know, so it's not so soul crushing. This is just a sad, sad day for Brendan Dassey. As I said at the beginning of this, I have someplace I need to go, so I can't stay on here now. But I'll go live sometime tonight, and we will discuss this further, where we can get more discussion and talk about what has been done to Brendan. And I will again leave this with all of you who know Brendan is innocent. I'm not talking about people who watched Making a Murderer. I know I am addressing this to the people who were party to the framing. You know that RAV4 wasn't there, that somebody moved it there. And if that's not true, what else? Now is the time to do what is right and come forward and tell what you know. It is not right for this boy to have his life taken because people don't like Stephen Avery. Thank you for your time. I will be back later tonight.